Have you ever held something so old it remembered a world you never knew? I do, because I am that something, and my story begins in fire. A swordsmith folded my glowing steel 1,000 times, then plunged me into cold water, and in that hiss, in the year 1274, I was finally alive. Along my edge he had coaxed a pale, wavy line called a hamon, the temper line, the exact border between the part of me that could bend and the part that could break. They gave me my first name, Tachi, a long curved sword worn edge down, and hung me at the hip of a young horseman barely older than you might imagine. He carried me down to the shore at Hakata Bay, where the grey sea had turned black with 1,000 foreign sails. The Mongols came twice, and the second time I felt the whole shore shake. Then the wind rose, the kamikaze, the divine wind, and it swallowed their ships whole. I came home notched and dull, and my horseman slowly grew old. His son carried me next. Would I ever taste a battle again? Instead, I was passed from hand to hand, rewrapped and remounted again and again, like a story no family ever wanted to end. But the world was changing beneath me. Men now fought on foot, close and fast. So what use is a long horseman's blade when the age of horsemen quietly ends? I had grown too long, too proud, and too curved for this new and crowded kind of war. And so, after nearly 300 years, they carried me back toward the glow of a forge I had thought I left behind forever. A new smith turned me over and over in his hands, studying me the way a doctor studies a patient he is not certain he can save. I waited there on his bench, certain that he meant to melt me down and begin all over again. But he had something crueler than melting in mind. Imagine someone slicing your name off every drawing you had ever made, because that is exactly what he was about to do to me. He cut away my base, the tang that carried my maker's mark, and in one single afternoon, in the year 1561, the man who made me was erased from me forever. Can you truly be erased from the very thing you made? What remained, he ground down and reset edge up, then gave me a new name, Katana. Its handle, the tsuka, wrapped in silk over pale ray skin, called Samegawa. My second life was loud. For 100 years, the age they call Sengoku, the whole country at war, I was drawn more times than I could ever count. And then, almost without warning, it all stopped. A single family of shoguns ruled from the east, and the fighting simply ended. For 200 peaceful years, I was worn every single day, and yet drawn almost never. I had become a promise instead of a threat. Now men bowed low over me in their formal dress and called me the soul of the samurai. And for the very first time, I was allowed simply to be beautiful. Over 500 years have now passed. 10 owners, 2 names, and one single, unbroken curve. The man who made me has no grave that I know of, and his mark was filed away in 1561. But run your eye slowly along my edge, that pale, frozen wave, and you are watching the exact motion of his hands on the night he quenched me in cold water and held his breath. Next time, no emperors and no battles, just one ordinary person and one ordinary day. A very long time ago.